Hello, Laura.
Hi. So good
Hi.
to
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. And it's morning for you in LA where you are, and
Yes.
yeah, and
Thank you
evening
so much
here.
for having me. Like it's the best way to start my morning, huh?
Thanks for making the time.
Of
I'm
course.
really excited to share like all your wisdom and knowledge. I had the opportunity to come and meet you in LA a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And when I find something that is really, really incredible, I'm a kind of like shout it from the rooftops kind of person. So immediately, I think I immediately asked you, would you please come on a podcast? Because I know that, yeah, no, what you do is really incredible. You're a doctor, of course, of Western and Eastern medicine, but you're also a healer, and you're really helping people not only with their health, but I feel like also in helping them evolve, in
Yeah.
so many ways, the evolution of consciousness. And I was wondering, will you feel to, start wherever you feel like, but I really would love you to share your story too, because I think it's really incredible.
Of course, I'm happy
Yeah.
to do that. So right now, I'm a combination of everything, of Western, Eastern medicine, quantum physics, psychology, natural medicine. It's everything in between. And as you were saying, like I perceive health as evolution, right? And we always have to change, we always have to transform. So I'm seeing patients and I'm co-creating health together with them. So
Mhm.
my background and backstory, how I ended up doing what I do, I'm coming from very, very skeptical Western medicine brain where nothing besides pills, prescriptions, surgeries can actually make a difference. And I was living like that, yeah, probably the whole life before I actually became very sick. And my specialties and where I was spending my time in Western medicine was oncology, psychiatry, so all those spheres.
Yeah.
And then I got extremely sick, and no one from Western medicine was able to understand what's actually happening, what to do with me. And my symptoms kind of were at at first point, like it sounded weird, right? I was not able to see. My corneas were bleeding. I had herpes virus on my cornea. I had
Wow.
migraines every single day. I had urinary tract infections 10 times per month. I had SIBO, leaky gut, chronic pain, chronic fatigue syndrome, somatoformic autonomic dysfunction, which means your nervous system is not sending signals to all the organs to function properly. So I reached the point where I tried everything. I thought so. I'm like, oh my God, I do all the good things. I see every doctor that I can imagine, right? And no one was able to help me, and none of my colleagues were able to help me. And, a lot of prescriptions, a lot of procedures, and nothing was actually truly making a difference. And then, yeah, my boyfriend, who is my husband at this time, he's like, you know what? I think you should try some alternative medicine. Maybe there's something more. And of course, my reaction was, dude, don't waste my time. I don't believe in that. Like, I don't want to do that. It all, in my old conditioning, it all sounds so woo woo and like everything is like, oh, no, I'm not doing that. Because, yeah, I was conditioned to think that that side is something that we never touch because it's,
Yeah.
all the healers, witches, and all of that. That was my, wait, what? But then I decided, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. But I was doing that for him mainly. I'm like, okay, just leave me alone. So I'm just do that. So you just leave me alone because I went with a idea and belief that there is no way that that could help me. And then I went to see
Wow.
this interesting woman back in Eastern Europe in Lithuania. She was doing something to me that I had no idea what it is. I'm like, there is no way. She was like touching my fingers and like doing some things, gave me some sugar pellets. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, I was studying for so long trying to understand how health should be, And I'm like, there's no way. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. But there was not a single cell in my body that actually believed that that could make a difference. And then I'm like, okay, whatever, another wasted 2 hours. But I got back home and I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. So I will use that medicine as she gave me. And I started using them. And in 2 weeks, actually, things shifted drastically. And I was
Yeah.
like, wait, what? I did not change anything. Like, I did not start new prescription medication, like, because
Yeah.
that was the only how I can see the
Yeah.
change. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, things started to change drastically. And I'm like, wait a second, I have to trace back and understand what I did. And I'm like, wait, there's no way that this thing can help me. But it did. It helped me drastically. And I decided, wait a second, there's something more probably that I don't understand. I was always questioning, and I had this conversation with one of my teachers back in university where I was like, if I see same people all the time, what are we actually doing in here? Like if they coming back with the same
Mm.
issue over and
Right.
over again. But the answer that I got was like, well, that's not your problem. Like you learn what to do, you do what you do. That's it. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I guess that's it. But then
Wow.
it kind of like told me that there is something more. And then I decided, you know what? I'm gonna start learning Eastern medicine because I thought like that's the way. Then I started to diving into whole Chinese Eastern medicine philosophies and everything. It made so much sense. And then I thought, you know what? I can heal someone now. Like I know one side, another side, and maybe now I can be objective with people. But then I decided to go into psychology. When I started to study psychology, I was like, wait a second, I don't know that part. It's way more than psychiatry can show you that there is.
Mhm.
And then I decided to dive into quantum physics teachings. And after that, I understood that I don't know nothing at all. I don't
Right.
know what is like where do we even start.
The
And that's
further down
probably
the
what
rabbit hole you go, yeah, the more you realize you don't know anything, yeah.
and this is where the true wisdom knowledge can actually happen when you actually come to the point where like yeah I'm zero, I don't know nothing, like just show me where is it, what is it, just lead me. So and then I went into the natural medicine route. So right now I'm kind of combining all of this knowledge and I work mainly with body physics. I don't work in the chemical side of the body, blood works, lab works. That's not something that is my field of interest. It's amazing tool. Like we need to have that, but it's just data, different types of data. And for me right now, the biggest clue and the biggest information that I can get is body physics, which is electricity, light emission, biophotonic flow. And I'm sure we're going to dive into that. But
Right.
yeah, body physics is something that interests me the most right now. And the whole energetics part of human body and healing and what is the role of consciousness and all of that and who are we actually, who's healing us and what is the role of the healer. So that's kind of philosophies that I'm trying to unpack.
Yes, yes, it's one of those never-ending questions.
Yeah.
But when I came to see you, I was one of these people who had this list of never-ending symptoms, sort of like not really sure anymore what was going on because I'd done all the tests and been through rounds of healings and supplements and all different kinds of things. And your approach was just so amazing. We did an electrodermal screening and you were really reading all the levels of my body. And I was just so astounded that you could see things. Like, well, not only could you see, maybe where the physical ailment was, and you explained to me how you can just like do the copy and like change the copy and paste that the cells do. And I'm sure you can explain that better. But then there was also like this whole aspect of then seeing things that I couldn't believe you could see, like
Yeah.
if there was grief in the heart or if there had been any sexual trauma or, just things that you'd think like, well, how do you see that in the machine?
Yeah, it all stays in the body because your physical body is electric, right? We touch something, we can feel that electricity going. And every electrical thing, every computer, phone, everything that has electricity, we know that it has magnetic field, right? So EMF is so popular nowadays. There is magnetic field around every single cell of your body, around every single organ. And when we dive into magnetism, well, that's your emotional, mental, supramental bodies. Because I love to kind of select every different layer when I'm treating people and see, okay, what's happening in your physical body, what's happening in your emotional body, what's happening in your mental body, supramental body, where it's all the archetypes, generational stuff, and traumas actually happen. So then, yeah, once you look at the body's magnetism, which you can measure by light, when you have biophotons, the smallest particle of light, you can see what's happening in those bodies, what's actually happening into emotional, mental body, because people know that emotion can cause the disease, but they have a tendency to forget that if you don't have a healthy self physically, that might make you feel one way or the other emotionally and mentally.
Right.
There is
Yeah.
no such thing as one way route in the human body. We are so multidimensional that that movement is all the possible ways, right? Everything affects everything.
Yeah.
So when I'm seeing someone, I want to see from which layer we actually have to start treating that person. And yeah, sometimes you see people who want to stay in the physical layer. And yeah, they want to hear that the root cause is parasites, bacteria, viruses. But then you have a question like, wait a second, why is my body a good place for that virus to live? Why is my body a good place for parasites to live? And then you have only one route. You go into deeper bodies in the subtle energies where it's like, okay, what is the emotional climate? Because people don't know that, yeah, for you to have herpetic family viruses, there has to be a lot of frustration and anger in the body, in the system, in order to keep that virus alive. Then you
Right.
want to dive deeper, see, okay, what's happening in the mental body? What is the thought pattern that actually creates that emotion, right? And
Yeah.
then once you dive into magnetism, into emotional, mental bodies, the whole rabbit hole opens up because, okay, is that emotion self generated? Is it actually generational? Because we have DNA, right? DNA is just construct of light. So we carry all these little pieces. Is it
Mhm.
collective? All interact, we're all entangled. Maybe it's collective energy, actually. Or maybe it's past or parallel life related. Maybe we have to collect those pieces of the soul in order to
Mhm.
fully heal.
Yes, absolutely. But how are you able to see that though? Like, can you do you read it if it's from the collective, let's say, you just kind of can perceive where in the field it's coming from?
It's
Yeah.
actually it's so simple. I know that it sounds crazy, but it's so simple to see that when you know where you have to look.
Yeah.
Because I can give you this visual example where when we start talking about something that we like, right? Let's talk about, I don't know, vacation in Fiji Island.
Right.
Mentally, emotionally, we are there. Like we can imagine how everything is, like we start feeling those feelings, excitement. Well, our physical body stays exactly in the place where we started this conversation. So we're starting to understand that, wait a second, those bodies, they move differently. They
Yes.
have different kind of movement. They can jump around and be in any planet or galaxy at any point. What
Yeah.
is about physical body that holds us right here? Well, that's another topic, right? Like what's
Right.
physical body
Right.
for that? But when you know that mental and emotional body moves differently, when you check that light emission, you can see different in the movement. When it's self-generated, the movement of particles is one way. When it's
Wow.
generational, the movement is way different. When it's collective, you see kind of very interesting movement actually, because it's hard to pinpoint then, and that light emission is all over around the field. When it's past life, it's absolutely different because yeah, that piece of the soul, like it's still entangled with that whatever is happening
Yeah.
out there. And of course, if we start thinking that time is not linear, maybe it's safe to say that it's parallel life. Maybe it's still happening. Maybe it's not a past life actually, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
very much exploration in every single body to see where is it actually coming from and what can I do for it, because every single body is so different. Imagine like if we take trauma in consideration, what trauma does, it scatters the field, and once the field is scattered, yeah, it's going to affect our magnetism and electricity. So when you take so much data, energetic, chemical, physics data, like structural data in the place, you see that, yeah, it's impossible to create something that works for more than one person. It has to be
Yes,
personalized and it has to be different with
exactly.
every patient, client, or however we want to call those people.
Yeah, and that's what you do with supplements too, because I brought you my huge bag of
Oh,
supplements and you went through each one and you could tell me, okay, this one doesn't work for you anymore. You don't need this one anymore. Oh, this one your body loves.
yeah.
And I absolutely love that because I could feel in my body that that was true. And also because I think we have such a thwarted sense of what it means to take supplements. Like some people take supplements the entire time or, for really extended periods of time. And then, as you were explaining, like our body gets, maybe doesn't need them anymore after a while, or our body gets used to them.
Our body works very
But
interestingly, actually. It works very similar to all of us, where, imagine people who work in sales. They have a pitch that works very well, right? And you always repeat the same pitch over and over and over again, because why would you spend your energy and time every morning like creating new pitch? No, this one works. And you just copy paste it until something changes. Price, location, technical parameters in the thing that you're selling. Something has to change in your pitch, right? You have to adjust. So our body works identical to it. It's like, yeah, you're going to have new cells all the time. In fact, we would die in 4 days if that would stop. And every organ has its own cycle and how it actually replenishes and rejuvenates. But in general, yeah, every 4 days we have these new bursts of the cells. But our body works exactly as all of us. In order to save energy, just copy paste the same old cell. So that's why, yeah, we have new cells, but we have the same symptoms, the same conditions, which leads us needing the same medication, the same supplement to keep the baseline and maintain our condition. Because, yeah, the cell is new, but it's the copy of an old one. And the biggest gap is we don't have many methods how we can touch that fundamental piece of the cell where actually change can happen. Because with any supplement, pharmaceutical drug, we're targeting the cells that are already here. But yeah, your body's going to make the new ones. So, how can you target those cells and create a
yeah,
different outcome in the body? Because then, with every chemical medication, supplementation, we're just trying to maintain the condition. And we can make you feel better. But the question is how long that would stay. Because over time, body gets used to it. It's like, oh, you're always giving me this specific substance. So you taking care of that function. I have literally millions of reactions happening every second. I will do something else. If you're taking care of that, yeah, let
mm,
me know. I'm gonna do and be busy
yeah,
with other things. So
right,
that's why we get used to it, right? And then it feels like we need that because yeah, your body literally becomes dependent on it. And
right, yeah,
the beauty is when you start checking the supplementation in people's body and see like, okay, let's see how your body reacts to the specific supplement that you've been taking.
yeah,
Usually like 99% of the time people are like, I knew it, like my intuition told me not to take this, or I knew that this one is good to me. And then yeah, it's a beautiful validation for people that yeah, trust your intuition. As every single person like who's trying to heal you, they're going to say like, trust whatever feels right. But we
yes.
are conditioned to think that yeah, if someone told me to take this supplement, I have to do it. Well,
Mhm.
not necessarily.
Yes, and I have to say, like, to me, supplements feel a lot like energy in themselves that we're giving the body. There is a quantum field to the supplement, to what you're ingesting. So to me, it's like if you can go straight to the frequency, to the quantum medicine, which is, what you provide in the little things like the vials that you give us. Um, I really did feel such a shift within 2 weeks, and within 2 weeks my symptoms were gone. And that was like, parasite, like itchy skin. And then we worked on a lot of stuff which we might get
Yeah.
into, like, which was actually to do with the super mind, as you call it, more than the physical body, and the ability to sort of really process higher frequency energies, like allowing my body to get used to processing higher frequency energies. But just in the drops that you gave me, I could tell that, like, my body was getting what it needed, and it kind of didn't need the supplements anymore. So I'm like, we could just cut straight to quantum medicine.
Yeah, I totally agree with you that, everything is energy. Everything has consciousness, everything has a feel. Like every single pill that we take, like, yeah, it has some energy in it. And our body's language, internal language, is electromagnetism. Chemical reactions, that's already fourth stage of communication. So when you see something in the chemical blood work, lab work, chemical part of the body, that's already fourth stage of the disease, disbalance, disorder, however we call it. People love testings like ultrasound, CT scan, x-rays, but you looking at the structure. Well, I always say this example. If you ever been to the funeral, you probably saw that not the structure makes us alive, because
Mm,
under the microscope, dead or alive cell, well, they look identical. So why do we focus on the results so much if we can actually take a step back and see, like, okay, before structure has to be chemical reaction. What's before chemical reaction? Because if you ever seen periodic table of elements, in every element you have protons, electrons, neutrons, right? This is what make that element. So if
yeah,
we can go back into that fundamental state where electromagnetism becomes a way of communicating, then yeah, that's quantum medicine. That's trying to provide for your body the frequency what it needs. And sometimes people misunderstand that when they think that frequency medicine is something like a high vibe and we're trying to, increase the frequency in the body. It's
right.
completely not true, because some organs in the body, they have to have lower frequency. They make you hear, like they make you
Yeah,
stay on the earth, right? And it's not
yeah,
about high or low frequency. It's just a beautiful cocktail, like perfect storm of different frequencies that makes that organ. But yeah, as we were doing with your body, physical body is just more dense consciousness, right? It's just a
mhm,
tangible consciousness. So you
mhm,
can trace back, see that, okay, if physical body holds this, what's happening in the emotional? What's happening in the mental? What's happening in the supramental? Because the higher we go, the higher the frequency. And imagine if there's a something happening in the supramental layer, archetypal beliefs layer, then yeah, that consciousness cannot reach the physical body. It can actually fully heal. But we also have to, it's a very thin line where we cannot neglect physical body too, because it has to have energy in order to even touch those realms and react
yes,
into the frequencies.
yes,
So it's a
exactly.
beautiful, it's a game actually to find from which sides I have to support that body. Because I had
Mm,
this idea, if I would give everyone like very high frequencies to treat
mhm,
supramental, mental, and higher realms, where yeah, I believe that majority of the diseases stems from there,
yeah,
well, people should heal very quickly. And I decided to try that. But I noticed that no, people do not react into those frequencies.
uh-huh,
And then it gave information that, wait a second, physical body might not even understand what it is until it's ready for those frequencies.
right,
So you
exactly.
have to make sure that physical body has enough energy to heal. And yeah, when people come in, usually the first step that we start is make sure that your physical body is ready to dive into those deeper layers. And some people, it's okay to stay in the physical layer. They want to stay there. They want to just make sure that they don't have any physical, disbalances, and that's it. And
Yeah,
that's fine too. Like it's for everyone, it's different. But some people, they start asking this question: where is it coming from? Like, what about my field? Like, why did
mhm,
that parasite live in my body? Like, what
right.
creates a perfect place for it to live? And
Yeah,
then you start going higher and higher and higher. And
because
then
it's
yeah, we
really
see. Mhm.
it just as you were saying, two people could live in a mold infested house, but one person will totally absorb the mold and the other person might not. So same with
Yeah,
parasites, one person
same with
might
every
have all of
condition.
them. Yeah.
With every external conditions, like we always have to ask why there is a resonance, right? Like we know that there has to be something that creates resonance in the body, where that substance, mold, mycotoxin, parasite, bacteria, virus, why does it resonate with my body? What it's in there that creates that resonance? And
Yeah.
yes, sometimes it's enough to focus on the physical body, but most of the times people choose that route to dive deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, because yeah,
Yeah.
it's a rabbit hole.
Right, exactly. So have you started to mentor people like with this bigger vision in
Yeah.
mind, that you have a system where you go through the five bodies.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't know if you want to say any more about that.
Yeah, I would love to share about that because yeah, I'm mentoring people right now, and yeah, I have few doctors who want to dive deeper into that, and I have people
Mm.
who are healers from different places. They're emotional healers, they're somatic healers, and they are people who are like, you know what, I want to understand because I see that I limit my abilities staying in one layer. Because that's why even having that network is amazing, because sometimes it's like, you know what, I know who you have to see. It's not my job anymore. It's not something that I feel like I have enough expertise to guide you or help you. So that's why I started to mentoring people, because yeah, sometimes I reach that capacity where I don't have time to see everyone who would like to see me. And then
Mm.
I understand, yeah, there has to be more people who can see human body as a whole. Like
Yeah.
the whole shift happens when you actually can zoom out and see the whole layered places,
Yes,
right? Because
absolutely.
if you zoomed in one area, you know what you're going to see in there, but it's not necessarily going to penetrate because, yeah, some people will live in misalignment. If all your bodies are not vertically aligned, then all the modalities that you use stay in that layer. It does not communicate fully.
Right, exactly. And like my experience was in taking the drops was when that I felt like I came more online, and in
Hmm.
general, in just they were quite high frequency drops, I think, what
Totally.
you gave me in particular, although my body was very much processing still the
Mhm.
ability to, but yes, because I was definitely one of those tired tired people when I arrived, and I needed some
It's
of
very,
that extra support.
of course, because it's very hard that frequency that, like, when you, especially when you're communicating with other people, when you're being around, like, when you're jumping around in galaxies and trying to learn and see the whole, your
Yeah,
body is always trying to match that, but it can't. It has
yeah,
some limitation, right? Physical reality has limitation. So that's why, of course, it's trying to go there, but it can't. But it's always running full speed because in your mind, your being, your awareness is somewhere else. So your
yeah,
physical body is always, wait for me. Like, I want to be there too. Like, where are we going? And it's always running, 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 running. And yeah, people get exhausted from it. So that
yeah,
alignment, everything actually penetrates and that energy can flow directly into the body, that creates a huge difference for how we feel, and that
yeah,
nervous system shield that we have to have in order to function fully in an environment, it's necessary to. And a lot of
right.
people live without that shield, and it shows. It's difficult to
Yeah.
be in crowded places, it's difficult to communicate with people, it's, you just absorb other people's energies.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why so many channels and healers get tired and sick. And, it might not be that you're doing anything wrong, but it just, it's so important to stay grounded and shielded, and
Important.
to know how to come out of these like very high mystical states, and
Exactly.
integrate in a healthy body. Yeah.
Exactly, because we also have a question like, how can I support my body when I'm traveling in all these mystical spaces? Because
Mhm.
what's happening with my body? Because you know that your mind, your awareness can be anywhere. What's
Yeah.
actually happening then in the body? It's always trying to process those frequencies. It's always trying to catch you, reach you wherever you are, but it
Yeah.
can't, because in the physical body, in this 3D reality, yeah, this is the limitation in order for us to learn how to live in this limitation. And we have to make sure that we can support it in all the necessary ways, because we know that if we're going to travel and try to channel specific consciousness, yeah, that part of the consciousness in the physical body might start showing up. That might bring
Mhm.
some emotions and physical disbalance and all of
Right.
that.
Yeah. And then we're also trying to maybe alchemize denser energies that were from a past incarnation, or a past
Yeah,
moment in our lives, and as we're shifting, from fourth to fifth dimension, there are frequencies where the parasites live, where the mold lives, where all of that lives, that's denser, that probably needs to go. But it's a
exactly. And
process.
All the toxins, they also have, you can see them as a spiritual beings too, right? Like they also have a
Yeah.
spirit. So we always trying to understand what's in my body can create a space for that spirit to come in and be in me. What has to be done, where I have to go, and what I have to transform in my body, so it would not be a place for those beings anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's all about changing the frequencies. And we know that sometimes people get stuck in this transformation state where your one foot is still in the old life and old
Mhm.
being, other foot is like somewhere in the mystical spaces, as you said. And then you're
Right.
like, your body is always trying to understand and find a way. Where am I? Like, what do I do with this? Who am I?
Yeah.
And side I have to choose, because the split happens. And yes,
Right.
some people experience that split as numbness, like apathy, or also it can be extremely pendulum swinging
Yeah.
emotional changes from low lows, high highs, and yeah, emotional body experiencing the split then. And also mental body can experience the split, which calls dissociation sometimes.
Yes. Wow. That's such a, yeah, that's so incredible to think about it like that, isn't it? Like just in that we need integration.
It's necessary.
I think we feel that like we get to these higher realms and okay, we're done, or like, we know how everything works. But we're missing this huge piece of integration. And,
Yeah, I
as
believe that the full knowledge happens when you can actually integrate whatever you see in there. When you can have it in your being, in your field, then it's easier to share, right? Because
yeah,
sometimes when we leave that knowledge somewhere in the field and it's still floating around somewhere around me, it's hard for me to even find the words how I'm going to express that. But also those mystical layers, that supramental body, it's higher on the frequency than mental body. So language, all the symbolism that we put on things, we might not have symbols for that because it's higher frequency. It does not
yeah,
need the symbolism. It does not need the communication, verbal communication.
right,
So the communication ways are different there. So sometimes we try to put the words and explain, but it's just
yeah.
different layer. Again, none of the layers are worse or better, but it's just different.
Right. We need the whole body, the whole you, as you call it. Yeah. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
it's necessary. None of the parts, all the parts are matter equally, and we cannot neglect none of our bodies, because yeah, it shows when we try to do that. And all these modalities, there a lot of times they're focusing on one layer only, and it's
Mhm.
amazing. We need those specific healings for specific parts of the body, but the first thing that we have to do, we have to make sure that if that body is actually communicating in between layers, or everything that we're doing is just staying in the same layer all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much. And also one beautiful thing, well, one of the many beautiful things about coming to see you is that someone could just come to you just to stop, as you said, the physical symptoms, and it's really long lasting as well. So, a lot of the symptoms don't come back. So, someone could come to you just one or two times and not feel that it's something that is, again, because these processes sometimes can feel so intense when they're physical, and some people are coming from years of tests where they can't come to a solution, and then they come to you and it might just take one or two sessions and they're done, and that's really
That's the
incredible.
goal. It's the goal, right? Because I always say to people, if I would see you all the time, it means something is not working. Like if I'm seeing you
Right.
for the same symptom over and over again, we're missing something.
Yeah.
So as we said, our body just copy pastes the same cells all the time. So if we can create enough healthy cells, well, your body's going to start replicating those new and healthy cells. So there is no need for you to come back and see me again and again and again. And yeah, usually one or two visits for the physical body is more than enough.
Yeah,
But
for
I
the
have to make.
physical.
Mhm.
But then you can kind of go deeper into, as you said, like deeper into the rabbit hole and keep, yeah, keep coming.
Absolutely. If there is a
Yeah.
need or want or desire to do that. But again, it's nothing wrong just to make sure that your physical body is healthy, because we all know how it feels when physical body is not healthy and how much energy it actually requires to do anything else. So yeah, sometimes For people, it takes time for them to actually enjoy that. Oh my God, my physical body is healthy now. Maybe I don't want to dive deeper right now. Maybe I just want to enjoy this ability to do whatever I want. Because, yeah, my goal is to find the way and find what is missing. What do I have to
Yeah.
introduce for your body? What kind of information it needs in order to build that new and healthy cell? So, in that way, your body captures that and you starts replicating that new and healthy cell. So, yeah, for the physical body, 1, 2 times can be more than enough.
Okay. Sorry, you cut out a little bit there.
Okay, do you want me to repeat it?
Okay, you're back. Yeah, just enjoying. Yeah, just
Yeah,
repeat that bit, please, if you could.
sure. So sometimes people coming from the whole journey of trying to resolve and understand what's actually happening, and once you start to feel better, they just want to enjoy that physical body ability to do whatever they want to do. And it's okay. You don't have to dive deeper. So in this case, in order for me to create long lasting result, I just have to give your body and find what does your body need in order to build that new and healthy cell. And then it's going to start replicating and copy pasting that new and healthy cell. So there's kind of no need for your body to get back into the same condition. Because if we start solving that on the fundamental layer, there is no need to keep solving that. But if we're solving the result, if we always focusing on one thing and just result that we see right now in the body, then yeah, people have to see doctors and use the same medication, same supplements. And there is a time and space and place for everything. There's time and space when we need medicine, when we need supplements, and time and space for frequency medicine, because no one finds me when they feel well, right? Like usually people find me when they already tried all these
Right,
other things.
exactly.
Kind of the last thing that they usually try.
Yeah, exactly. Right, right. Which is so great. And then it's such a beautiful awakening and surprise, like, oh, it's possible.
Is when people can get better, that sparks such a healing power in the body, because yeah, your body follows the beliefs and emotions and whatever it's in there. So it's beautiful to witness, and I'm the luckiest person alive to be able to see that constantly in
Mhm.
people's lives. So I'm
Yeah.
happy to be able to do what I do.
Yeah. And are there really a lot of doctors who are interested in what you're doing now, or do you feel you can access people who are into Western medicine?
It feels like more and more people are actually opening up to that.
Mm.
Of course, when you speak with different people, it requires different communication types, right?
Mhm.
And people love science and all the scientific, reasonings and all of that, which is possible to do too. But
Right.
sometimes I love when people actually come from the place where, like, you know what? I'm just open to learn whatever. I don't know what's in there. I just want to learn because I know that there is something more. So that's
Right.
kind of my favorite type of people who are like, you know what? Whatever it's in there, I'm open to it.
Right.
So, because this is how you can actually learn. You don't put the lid on yourself that, oh, this is what it is. This is what science experience told me. Because the whole science topic it's another realm too.
Yeah.
So I believe that more, and what I see more and more people, even with Western medicine thinking and ideologies, they coming into this realization that wait a second, there is something more.
Yeah. Beautiful. And so if someone wants to come to see you, they can come to meet you in LA in person or
Yeah,
in Nashville, I think.
yeah, and I travel to Nashville every month and a half, 2 months ish. I have practice there too. So in person is LA and Nashville.
Mhm.
And yeah, I work online a lot. People just send me their DNA samples,
Okay.
so I can measure the light emission, right? Because as you know, we are light beings. So if we can measure the light,
Right.
DNA, that hair sample is
Yeah.
more than enough for me to see what's happening in the body. And then I create
Wow.
those personalized frequencies and I just ship that to people. So I have people
My
all
gosh.
over the world for that.
That's incredible. I think it's time for me to send you some hair again as well. We need to
I would
we
love
need
to
to
see what's happening in there.
I'm excited to go down that rabbit hole. It's time to kind of just go a little bit deeper or higher, as it were, because we're, going into, yeah, more of that
Yeah,
quantum
that's a
realm.
good point. Is it deeper or is it higher? It's kind of
Yeah,
both. It's a beautiful paradox as everything
right,
in this life,
exactly.
right?
Exactly. And so thank you so much for your time today. Is there anything else that you want to share, or like is your program coming up? Is it ready? Is it coming up?
Well, I'm creating this course and program for people who actually want to dive deep into that. So it's coming up. It's going to be there very, very soon. But I'm also working on some certifications and how we can actually create the whole, I don't know how to call it, maybe university or maybe institution
Yeah.
that you can actually go and dive and understand the whole holistic medicine. And so I'm working on that, but it's a big project. So it
Yeah.
might take some time.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, probably the last thing that I would love to mention is I just want to make sure that people know that there's always a way.
Mhm.
There's always a way how you can get better. It doesn't matter in which layer your condition is starting. There's always a way and there's always people who can help you to get better. So I just want to encourage people to keep looking, and
Yeah.
there's always someone or something that is waiting there for you so you can get better, because that's your birthright to feel this life to the fullest. So I just want to make sure that people hear that. Keep looking, there's always a way.
Thank you so much for these beautiful words. I've
Of
felt them
course.
myself. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Oh, I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to have met you, and I'm so grateful for the work that you do, and for
Thank
being,
you.
yeah, an incredible bright light. Your energy is always just stunning. Every time I'm able to sit with it, I feel, really blessed.
Thank you.
So, yeah, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. It means the world to share the things that I can do, the things that I'm happy to witness like every day in my life. So it's just such a gift to be able to talk with people like yourself and just be around people who want that elevation and consciousness for the whole collective, for the whole earth. So it's
Right. Yeah.
beautiful. It means the world.
Yeah, it's so beautiful that we're building this community across the globe, of people
Yeah.
who are raising consciousness in this way. And
Yeah.
it's precious when we get to know each other and we get to meet. Yeah.
And it's beautiful how many different gifts we all have. And like once
Yes,
it comes together, it's incredible.
exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I will speak to you soon, hopefully, and I will leave everyone all your details. You can find them in the comments, and I
Thank you.
hope that many people will find their way to you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.